All right, now, everybody. Quiet, listen to me. We're going to start a show. Now, some of you people have been with me before. You know it's going to be a tough grind, but we're going to have a show.
And hello and welcome, everybody. It's our Friday show, live on the air, everywhere from coast to coast in the USA and across this great globe. It does look as though everybody is present and accounted for. And with that said, I will mention that we have our usual Friday crew coming up. That is to say, Mo Kelly and Michael Shure in hour 2 to tell us what's happening in the week of politics. It's a week that's included an appearance by Mohammed bin Salah.
Prince Mohammed ibn Salman ibn Abdulaziz Al Saud.
That guy, exactly, at the White House. It's a week that has included more threats to Venezuela and the saber rattling that seems to be a cornerstone of this administration in Washington. We'll talk a bit about that. There is a revelation, I think, associated with law and disorder that involves, again, the U.S. Congress. There are more and more ways in which the U.S. Congress is looking to be part of the money grab that now informs Washington. The president is the biggest money grabber that Washington has seen in its history, but now Congress wants to play along also. So, with that said, I'll update that in law and disorder. We have a chunk of Trump. In fact, a chunk of Trump will get us started in just a moment, so there is much going on. Before I get any farther into the show, I want to tell you that our holiday hoedown showdown is also a throwdown. And if you've never thrown down during the holidays, you got to do it at a hoedown. So I'm saying be part of this meetup. It's a virtual meetup. You can join through your phone, through your iPad, through your computer, your laptop, however you want to join us. We send you a Zoom link. Remember the Zoom links from COVID?
Yeah.
This is just like that. You'll get a link and you'll be able to join us December 1st, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. in the East. 2 hours of hoeing down. $50 donation via PayPal will ice your spot. It will lock it up. And note HH or holiday hoedown or throwdown or some version of that when you make the PayPal donation. And then it's a 2-step process. Send an email to confirm that you've done this, and you can send to and should send to mtsmeetup@gmail.com. Please don't send to any other address but mtsmeetup@gmail.com. And I should mention,
I've received a lot of positive letters.
I will tell you that there are many returning meetup visitors who will be part of this. And I also got beaten up, bitch slapped around by one of our regulars.
Oh.
And that is
What?
Yeah, Richard Delamater, who's kind of he's the bad boy of the chat, you know.
I thought he would want to come to the hoedown throwdown.
Well, he says he doesn't want to come.
Why?
Unless we do things like ask people what their favorite segment is.
Oh.
And he says, if it wasn't for me last time, he says this in this email he has sent to me. He sent me a couple of emails about the holiday hoedown throwdown.
I've received a lot of positive letters.
He says, if it wasn't for me last time, Mark, it would have sucked.
Oh, girl,
Think I'm
baby
kidding, he
girl.
says?
Don't
Yeah.
even play.
Right. I mean, he is a...
Good day, sir.
Mark, you need to interact specifically with your audience to get them excited. Rehashing what you and Katz talked about on the show was a snooze fest. We had David Katz stop there. Also, I think David K. Johnston came through. We had some really great... This has been a while since our last meetup. But people want to ask them questions.
I thought that was the interesting part. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, that's, It's not let's get high and listen to, a Dylan album. That's just not the vibe that we, So he says Courtney barely looked up from her phone. Well, she's looking down at the
Monitor.
at the chat,
people.
at the monitor. Yeah. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
People sat like statues in front of their fireplaces. Of course, it's a Zoom. What do you expect them to do? Be dancing? I was the only person, he said, only as in capital letters, that had enough balls to say hello and bid my respect to Katz, Rothman, and Shure. Well, I mean, I don't know. Everybody was there and actually just quite...
This is a man with anger. This is a man that has resentment towards you.
I don't know what... Anyway, Richard, we're very anxious to have you join, but it sounds like
He's going to
you
send this one out?
don't want to join, and
That's
we'll
all right.
have to make do without you. Yeah. But we will file a full report, I wanted to see if I had another. We've got a nice returning crew. I'd say nucleus, and I would love for everybody to be part of it. We are going to get some special visitors. I think you'll be happy, and it's kind of a. What would you say? It's kind of an adult party, not from the standpoint of adult entertainment, but from the standpoint of, a lot of the people come to the conversation with questions for a David Katz or from
Sure.
whom, these are legal questions so it's kind of that sort of thing. You know
And
what
you
I
get
mean?
the opportunity to interact with them on, yourself, not just through us. So you can send us questions, which we may or may not get to asking. But at the meetup, you're able to really interact with, all us and the special guests on a one-on-one basis.
Yeah, exactly. What Kim said is exactly right. I mean, and there is absolutely no impediment to people in the meetup. It's 2 hours asking questions to each other, to me, to Kim, to whomever, and to those who are in the game, David Katz, Michael Shore, etc. So there's absolutely no impediment. In fact, we want that.
Yeah.
So I don't quite know what Richard Delamater's talking about, but I like to give Richard may need to start his own show, says Mike and Willie. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think so. I hope Josh Mankiewicz will be there. I think Josh Mankiewicz will be there.
Awesome.
So, yeah. So if you have questions about true crime or, you're in the middle of some murder investigation, maybe that's the Dateline thing. Josh can help you with that.
A lot of comments
yes, I
on your
am.
apparel.
Sorry?
Yeah, a lot of comments on your jacket.
My jacket is off of the website. Albert, put it up there for all the boys and girls to see. GetMarkMerch.com. You can get I think they call this a bomber jacket. If you scroll down, Albert, you'll find it. You'll find all of our merch there. On this Friday, I decided to wear it, crack open I think they call it a, you don't see it? There should be another page there where you see it.
No, I'm not sure. I haven't seen it in quite a while, so I think it might be.
Because Courtney just checked, and she said it's on the website.
Oh, it's nice.
I don't know. Because I said, well, Albert says it's not there.
Okay,
But,
maybe it might be on my end, so I'll have to do
Albert says he can't find it, honey. I don't know what the. Hold on a second.
Maybe it might be here.
You created an issue, and now it's you
We're
understand.
browsing all the merch now.
Honey, go ahead.
Browsing all the merch now.
Wait,
yes.
it's if you go to browse all merch, it should be at the bottom. It's like the bottom of the first page.
Ooh, there's
I
a
was just on it.
Yeah,
Hi,
there is
Courtney.
Hi.
Yeah, there's some cool. What are those stickers or what is that?
Oh, there's
Well,
some.
this is a wrapping paper.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's wrapping paper.
Wow.
Cool.
What better to give your holiday gifts than in Mark Thompson show wrapping paper?
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah,
And
you can
that's
start the disappointment early.
How dare you?
What?
It's there, I swear.
They're boxer
Unless
shorts? I didn't know.
Boxers,
Look at the pajama set. Yeah.
Pajamas. Look, this is a
Pajamas. I don't know.
complete
Yeah.
set. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like
There's
we
a-
can all sleep with Mark.
Yeah.
Tote bags. There's our pot
funny.
holder, which I love. The
Yeah.
coaster as
Yeah,
well.
It's not there.
Keep going, Albert, all the way.
There
There
it
it
is.
is.
There
Yeah,
it is.
yeah, I love it.
Finally.
I love it.
Who's producing this thing?
Yeah, I mean the bomber the bomber jacket is a winner. That's what I'm wearing right
Yeah,
now.
but
I'm
Yeah.
partial to the duffel bag. That's awesome.
yeah, the duffel bag
Yeah.
is cool too.
Yeah.
Yeah, you really could represent the show in every facet of your life. So
I really do love it.
We also have long sleeve shirts now. So for the winter months.
Oh yeah.
What?
That's right. There
And
was a
then
request for that.
we're thinking about new designs in the new year. So if anybody has suggestions or ideas, we welcome them.
Oh, I didn't realize you were welcoming suggestions and ideas.
I am.
That's great.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Courtney, always love seeing you. Thank you.
I love
and
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for calling her in to the. We should do
to
that
set
more
this
often.
straight.
I mean, to be
because-
fair, I just sort of forced my way in.
No, I mean when she heard that Albert was misrepresenting things.
That's not true. He was yelling
Albert,
at you.
thank you.
Yeah.
It's usually Mark. Yeah.
exactly.
So,
Courtney, it's on the website. Yeah.
But a couple of you have sent some. I thought I've sent to you even, Albert, pictures of
I know.
the merch.
I need to put them up. I know.
Yeah, we'll put some of the pictures of the merch up on the website.
We have yeah.
We have
We have
one
Chaco and
that's-
Max, but we need the others from the No King's Day. We got a really cool photo from Bermuda with the wine.
Well, the beanie has.
Yes.
There's one beanie that's made it all across Asia. There it is.
Really?
This
Wow.
is from.
Yeah, we need to
it's
put them
from
up.
Steve, who's traveling all over Asia, and he's got our beanies. There, his and her beanies everywhere. And there was one of the wine coolers that was there on the side of the beach. I forget who sent it, but that was really cool. So
it was from Cuba. That
I
was
know.
Cuba.
That's
that
very
was
cool.
wow.
Yeah.
That wine cooler that you see there was on the beach in Cuba.
Yeah.
Or Cuba, as is said. So that's really cool. Anyway, that's the deal. Let's get markmerch.com, and you can get this bomber jacket too. There it is. Thank you. Wow.
Yeah.
Very well done, Kim, for organizing. That's the picture of the wine cooler there on the beach.
Isn't that pretty?
Yeah. Exactly.
Courtney, thank you.
Thank you.
All
Thank you
right.
for having me.
Yeah, you really are, girl.
I mean,
Thank you
when I
very much.
think relaxing on the beach, I definitely think Mark Thompson show.
Yeah, you got to relax. You can knock us
Listen to the waves, take it all in.
knock us on down there in YouTube or iHeartRadio or Spotify. We are also an audio broadcast across all those audio platforms. And as Kim says, take us on vacation. We're happy to be part of your life any way we do it. So, all right. So we go. Yeah.
The Mark Thompson Show.
What a busy time for our current president. He's busy now threatening Democrats with death. That's right. We'll feature that story in a chunk of Trump.
Open wide.
Ready?
Here comes your chunk of Trump.
It's my favorite food.
With your first bite, here's Mark Thompson.
I have a feeling it's going to be beautiful.
It is not in the least bit normal, nor is it in the least bit acceptable that a chief executive would threaten any American with hanging. But that's exactly what the current president has done. Albert, let's see a little something on it.
Tonight, President Trump criticized by members of both parties after calling 6 Democratic members of Congress, quote, traitors, and accusing them of seditious behavior punishable by death.
Representative.
It came in response to video released by the lawmakers, all of whom served in the military or in U.S. intelligence.
I was a captain in the United States Navy.
Former CIA officer.
Former Navy.
In the video, the lawmakers reminding members of the military they should not obey illegal orders.
Our laws are clear. You can refuse illegal orders.
You can refuse illegal orders.
You must refuse illegal orders.
No one has to carry out orders that violate the law or our Constitution.
The lawmakers did not specify which orders they were talking about, but the president enraged, posting a flurry of messages on social media saying they should be arrested and put on trial. Their words cannot be allowed to stand, adding, an example must be set. The president then writing, seditious behavior punishable by death. And he reposted a message from another account that said, hang them. George Washington would. Democrats accusing the president of inciting violence.
This puts all of our lives in jeopardy, right? What are we all doing right now? Democrats in the Congress are on the phone with their chiefs of staff, beefing up our security for this weekend and next week, because the president has a lot of unhinged supporters out there.
Republicans clearly uncomfortable.
The words that the president chose are not the ones that I would use, okay? Obviously, I don't think that these are crimes punishable by death or any of that, okay?
Republican Senator Rand Paul was blunt.
That kind of rhetoric isn't good and stirs up people among us who may not be stable, who may think,
When home traders, what do we do with traders? It's a death penalty. Maybe I'll just take matters into my own hands, which is not something we should be encouraging.
At the White House, Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt was asked to explain.
Just to be clear, does the president want to execute members of Congress?
No. Let's be clear about what the president is responding to.
Leavitt saying the 6 Democrats are the ones inciting violence.
They are literally saying to 1.3 million active duty service members not to defy the chain of command.
I spoke with Congressman Jason Crow, a former Army Ranger who was in that video.
What would your message to the president be?
I don't do fear and intimidation well, and I'm not going to stop.
In that video, Democrats cited what they called threats to the Constitution, insisting that the Trump administration is pitting our military against American citizens, but they did not provide any specific examples. Congressman Crow telling me they felt the need to start a conversation after the president made what he called disturbing statements.
I don't think that, Randy, just making the point, wow, Johnson actually said something negative about Trump. I think that is about as negative as Johnson gets, but generally speaking, he was equivocal in his response and seemed to suggest that, it was a version of, I don't really know what was said. And I saw a couple of those. In fact, I sent you one, Albert. Go ahead and run the Johnson is an important figure in all of this, and he's a total lapdog to Trump. And you can hear and see in this moment how he kind of plays it down the middle. Go ahead, Albert.
Speaker, how you doing? The president posted that Democrats who urge service members to not follow illegal orders should be punished. It should be seditious, conspiracy, and punishable by death. Give me a response to that.
Look, I know the DOJ and the Pentagon are looking into the legality of all that, but what I can address is what everybody knows. That was wildly inappropriate. It is very dangerous. You have leading members of Congress telling troops to disobey orders. I think that's unprecedented in American history. And as the father of a young man who is, at the Naval Academy, going to be joining the service, I know young soldiers, airmen, sailors, they don't need that kind of nonsense from people in Congress. It is very dangerous.
But punishable by death. Punishable by
I'm going to let others define what it is, but it's wildly inappropriate.
Did he call for inciting violence?
No. The president, somebody just showed me what the president.
Someone just showed me what he said.
He, I'm sure, acknowledges that attorneys have to figure all that out.
So attorneys have to figure all that out. So you can see, Johnson, what he's essentially saying is, and his first reaction is really troubling. It was, hey, I am on the president's side as far as the fact that Democrats shouldn't be telling officers and enlisted people in the military to disobey orders. Well, the demand and reminder was very specific. It wasn't disobey orders. It was disobey illegal orders.
Thank you. He left the most key word out.
And as a result of Trump's pushback and threats toward Democrats, saying that they are traitorous, etc., there are a number of threats that are now being issued against Democrats. And as was noted by Chris Murphy there in that report, a lot of them are scared. This is the kind of one-off stochastic terrorism, domestic terrorism. The Proud Boys are part of this. The 3%ers are part of this. Those who were all pardoned on January 6th or pardoned for January 6th activities, they're all, in a way, and we talked about this at some length along the days that followed that pardoning, they're all part of a militia, in a sense, a Trumpian militia that is ready to do his dirty work. And so you have Senator Alyssa Slotkin from Michigan saying the number of threats against her exploded after Trump posted that social media message targeting Democrats. We've had hundreds and hundreds, if not, closer to 1,000 threats, she said. She's just one of the Democrats featured in that video. Chuck Schumer, Hakeem Jeffries saying that they've looked into security for the lawmakers who appeared in the video because of this threat. The sergeant of arms arranged for us to have 24/7 security, and that's because the threat level just went through the roof, said Slotkin. And again, this denouncing of Democrats and accusing them of seditious behavior, I mean, it's just outrageous. It also, I think, reveals a plan, right, on the part of Trump, which is to use the military as his own personal army, and I use that generically. But these forces are to be employed in any way he wants. We've already seen evidence of that as he has created these phony crises in American cities. I mean, as his nationalizing or federalizing the National Guard has gone from city to city. And I think it sets the table and is revealing of something else that we've talked about, and we've talked about this at length, which is simply the deployment of the military in a chaotic, impulsive way to address a fake unrest, right? A concocted unrest, which is what you have had. You had it in Portland. You had it in Los Angeles. You can say, well, Mark, there was unrest in Los Angeles. There was unrest in Los Angeles in that, what was it? Let's call it a mile, okay, of L.A., which is generous. But it certainly didn't require the kind of presence that you're seeing in Washington, D.C. of the National Guard. But he is setting the stage for deployment of these troops at his whim so as around the elections to depress turnout. You have these shows of force that are very much part of what the Trump administration is all about. ICE is essentially his hired thuggish mob that goes into different communities and kicks ass. That's what they do. You know, dragging some 56-year-old landscaper to the ground and zip tying him isn't some courageous act. And as it turns out, more and more of these incidents are informed by arresting and detaining American citizens. These are not members of Tren de Agua or any kind of other gang from Latin America. This is an effort to stir the pot to the point that he's able to deploy the military and impose his will on this country, which will include messing with the election. And so it's either a plan to, in that case, depress the vote. It's a kind of voter suppression, right? Or to actually declare some sort of chaos and disruption to America's cities and voting processes so as to postpone the vote. These are things that are very much on the table for this administration. And as you see him touring a detainment facility here, if you're watching on YouTube, with Kristi Noem and some of these other people from the world of HHS, you see the manifest waste of federal dollars on Kristi Noem, who's a cosplaying, vacuous know-nothing who's been put in charge of this brutal policy associated with detaining all of these people. But this is part of a defining aspect of this administration. The brutality is deliberate, it's excessive, it's gratuitous. And so that's why you see the landscaper who's 56 getting thrown to the ground. You see the zip tying of kids on a Chicago street as they sit on the curb, zip-tied, separated from their parents. It's deliberate. The message is, we don't take prisoners. And so the rhetoric being amped up as Trump has amped it up, associated with Democrats and their seditious activities based on this video that just says to the military, don't disobey illegal orders. It's all of a kind. It's all very much on brand for this administration.
But Mark, I'm confused because I thought that Trump came out against speech that would incite political violence after the killing of Charlie Kirk. I thought he said, no, we shouldn't be doing this. We should, tamp it down. We need to be different in the way that we speak, and we need to respect each other because people are getting hurt. Isn't that right?
Yeah, so there you go.
No.
So
not
true.
right.
I mean, this has always been, in my view, a very one-sided kind of smokescreen for what really has been as I suggested, kind of, I think, deliberate strategy to create a divisiveness and a calling out of the other side on a level we've never seen before, and a call to violence. Again, if you look at white nationalism, I mean, it exists on the right. Now, I'm not saying that they're GOP voters per se. I mean, they may be GOP voters. I'm not calling GOP voters white nationalists. But what I am saying is that the system has been perverted, and there is a call to arms, a de facto call to arms from this president. So that's why they have amped up the kind of security around these lawmakers. I mean, it's really disgusting. And at the center of it is Trump, and then his acolytes, and you've got MAGA Mike Johnson, who, again, could only manage some sort of maybe tepid pushback, but essentially backed up the president. I think it is confusing when the military gets these statements from lawmakers. So that's where we are. And sadly, I think it's, as I say, it's part of a strategy that we're likely to see continuing. The federal workers who are being asked about loyalty as part of the ways in which they can decide whether these people should stay on the job, they are asking a federal judge to block this part of the job application. There is a literal demand for these job applicants to demonstrate their loyalty to President Donald Trump's agenda. The lawsuit was filed by a group of federal labor unions arguing that the White House's merit hiring plan, as it's called, violates applicants' First Amendment rights. The plan was put forth by the Office of Personnel Management, and it includes the following essay question. How would you help the president and his executive orders and policy priorities in your role? Identify one or two relevant executive orders or policy initiatives that are significant to you and explain how you would help implement them if hired. The administration rolled out this question in May. It was part of their hiring plan, but there was pushback. And so they said that you can answer the questions or not answer the questions, and it won't damage your prospects of being hired if you skip them. But this legal group that is assisting the unions in the lawsuit say that this loyalty question is part of 6,000 federal job postings right now.
What the hell is going on in the United States of America?
Exactly. Caroline Leavitt is saying that the piggy insult that Trump uncorked is showing that he's being honest to people's faces, and as a result, it's a show of respect. Wow.
So it's okay to be offensive as long as it's honest?
I didn't even understand the honesty part. I mean, the question she asked wasn't piggish, there's nothing about it. It was just really pretty ridiculous. There is a meltdown in the White House, it seems, overnight, every night. This one is about Jimmy Kimmel. In a middle-of-the-night post from the White House on social media, Donald Trump says, why does ABC fake news keep Jimmy Kimmel, a man with, quote, I shouldn't say quote, it's in capital letters, no talent and very poor television ratings? Why do the TV syndicates put up with it? Also, totally biased coverage. Get the bum off the air. Trump's message came after Jimmy devoted 10 minutes of his Wednesday night monologue to hitting as many of the president's sore spots at once: his wealth, his family, loyalty, his connections to late convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein, who once was a close friend. I mean, the great thing about Jimmy is he reads the stuff on the air. Like, he'll read Trump's social media post. I mean, he's wisecracked about, the bill that demands the release of the Epstein files. And he even said, usually when Trump gets a bill, he declares bankruptcy and doesn't pay the bill. And this is after he signed or was to sign the bill, the discharge. Trump hasn't been this nervous about signing something since Don Jr.'s birth certificate, Jimmy said. Anyway, the deal is Kimmel. I am astounded by Jimmy Kimmel's courage and how funny he is. It's just great, But the last thing I have for you in Chunk of Trump is something that is personally super disturbing to me. Donald Trump wants to open up new drilling off the coast of California and in the eastern Gulf of Mexico, or Gulf of whatever they're calling it. This has a lot of environmental groups pushing back, as you might imagine. And you might have in California pushback, and in Florida you'll have pushback because along the eastern Gulf, that's, off the coast of Florida. They want to auction off the rights to drill in areas that include parts of the Gulf that had been considered part of the eastern Gulf of Mexico. But the Trump administration is now calling the region South Central Gulf of America. In both California and Florida, offshore drilling is controversial. Florida Republicans, as well as Florida Democrats, oppose drilling because of the importance of beach tourism to the state's economy. This would greatly expand offshore drilling plans, and it's all part of Trump's very aggressive move to increase offshore drilling, and he's been very aggressive about issuing leases for drilling. It would replace a Biden administration plan that proposed just 3 offshore lease sales. This would include as many as 34 offshore lease sales between 2026 and 2031, and 21 lease sales in addition off the coast of Alaska, in addition to the 6 in California and 7 in the Gulf. California hasn't seen a new lease sale off its coast since 1984. They do drill under previously issued leases, but there's no new lease and no new drilling going on.
I don't think Californians want that. Do you?
Of course not.
No.
We've also had such a terrible track record with leaks and with spills. It's brutal. It's overwhelmingly opposed by both parties in the state of California. So, again, you have a president who knows nothing, who is wedded to an old world view, and who wants to get this plan on the books because it's a payoff, as he sees it, to his donors, many of whom are associated with big oil and fossil fuels. And so that's your chunk of Trump.
That's it for this edition.
Well, I really enjoyed it.
But make sure to join us again next time
I think you might want to listen. There's nothing wrong with listening.
for another chunk of Trump.
Right on. Right on.
The Mark Thompson Show.
I have to turn on a light that I didn't turn on.
Oh.
Yeah, which is across the room. So
okay.
Here's a little something to listen to while I do that. Yeah.
The Mark Thompson Show.
Hey, which one of you is Mark Thompson?
Put that coffee down.
My bad. I'm sorry.
Seriously, what the Why are you yelling?
Can you let him finish, sir?
I love it when you're angry.
We're glad you're here. It's our Friday show. I'm wearing the attractive bomber jacket. You can get one just like it. I don't know why they call it a bomber jacket. But it's got our logo and
it's a style.
Very comfy. Is this a style? Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got love and truth bombs coming. That's what I've got going. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. That's the bombing going on from me. You can follow us on social media, can't we? Albert, what is our social media? It's just me, right? It's at Mark T Live on X and on the
we're on Blue Sky, right?
Yeah, we're on Blue Sky. That's right. We're on Blue Sky. What's our email? I mean, our handle, whatever you kids call it, Albert. What is it called?
I think it's Mark
Albert. Thank you.
At Mark MTS.
And isn't this the problem?
Blue Sky. I think all the Blue Sky accounts, all the usernames, super long.
Yeah, no, you're right. They are super long.
We have a very active Facebook fan page as well.
Oh, what is that? How does that work?
Thompson Show fan discussion page. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
I am excited about that.
I've never seen anything like it.
All right.
Yeah.
It's on Facebook. I wonder if Richard Delamater is there giving those people a hard time the way he gives me a hard time.
What can you tell us about the scene?
Richard Delamater's everywhere, Larry, giving me a hard time.
We might just have to steal your favorite segment thing from him. That's great producing on his part, you know?
Yeah, no, he does. He has ideas. The man has ideas. I would also say if you need to reach us for any reason, we'd love to talk to you. Always take your suggestions. Many of you send articles. In fact, I'm about to do a story that was sent to me just yesterday, and we have an update on it. Anyway, you can send it to themarkthompsonshow@gmail.com. themarkthompsonshow@gmail.com. And I will mention again our meetup. It is a special holiday hoedown. If you want to hoe and you want to get down, this is your place. Yeah, I'm excited. The holiday hoedown throwdown, it's 2 live hours.
Who is having that conversation?
There is no broadcast element to this. There is no way in which anybody else will see this except the people in the hoedown. And I mention that because it's an unvarnished conversation. December 1st, it's a Monday, 6 p.m. Pacific time, 9 p.m. in the East. The holiday hoedown throwdown, it's our big end-of-year hoedown. Here's how you participate in this 2 hours of hoeing down. $50 donation via PayPal. When you make the donation, PayPal links are under all our videos and also at themarkthompsonshow.com. Anyway, click on the PayPal link, $50 donation, note HH or hoedown when you make the donation, and then send an email to confirm you've done it. Send it to mtsmeetup@gmail.com, and we will see you on December 1st. I'm excited about it. I think it's going to be quite the crowd already. Some pretty good momentum. Many of your regulars from the chat may be there.
Maybe
Albert's
we could try
to
yeah, I'll stop in there. Maybe we could all try to pronounce MBS's full name. Like,
oh yeah, that's a great idea. Come with your pronunciation ready to go.
Prince Mohammed ibn Salman ibn Abdulaziz Al Saud.
That's this middle part that is just a little questionable.
We like the commitment, so please try to imitate that. You know, she.
Yeah, right. Thank you. It's really
Prince Mohammed ibn Salman ibn Abdulaziz Al Saud.
It's like that.
It's kind of like how you're fudging your way through a project, like a presentation, and you just you know go straight through something you completely know
sell
nothing
it.
about.
Lean in hard, and also we'll ask you to. They'll be a part of the hoedown. They'll be involved in saying acetaminophen, which is
acetaminophen.
Yeah, exactly. So try it. We're looking for the impression. Don't say acetaminophen properly. You have to do the impression of the president saying acetaminophen.
Acetaminophen.
That's exactly it. Yeah. What happened to the cardigan sweater? Asks elect Jane. I have the cardigan sweater, and I actually was going to wear the cardigan sweater today. And it's very funny that you mentioned this. The reason I didn't is Courtney suggested I wear the bomber jacket, and I don't like to push back on her suggestions, but the cardigan sweater is perfect for the new season. And I encourage, if you have a cardigan sweater, to wear it to the hoedown. Yeah. So that is, those are a couple of the other jackets we have there. I don't know.
Those are the hoodies, yeah.
These are the first time I've seen these on the no cardigans, but I haven't seen this before. So
we used to have a cardigan in there. I don't know where it went.
There's definitely a cardigan in there if you look. Don't make me bring Courtney back in now. I really don't want to do that. So,
how about are the pajamas acceptable? This set there looks like there's.
I think pajamas are a really great way to go.
I like the long pants, the pajama pants.
I agree.
Yeah.
I think I would wear those, but no one would notice. Yeah.
The kids these days, they wear the pajama pants to school. So
do they really?
Yeah.
I love that. I mean,
I should get this for Julia. Yeah.
That was cool when I was in middle school and high school, like around early 2000s, people were doing that. So, the style's
it hasn't
coming
changed.
back.
Right.
The sweaters sold out. The cardigan sweaters sold out, says Becky.
Oh, is that what happened?
It happens. You've got to get this stuff, early. They don't even make, you see these mugs behind, they don't even make these anymore. These are collector's items. I'm sure on eBay you could get serious money for those.
Yeah.
Kim laughing with some mockery. I don't know. All right.
Hey, which one do you use, Mark Thompson?
Who's Mark Thompson?
The Mark Thompson Show.
I mentioned that there was a story sent to me, and I want to share it with you. It involves the military, and this story originally was pretty revelatory, I'll say, that the U.S. Coast Guard no longer would classify swastikas and nooses as hate symbols. This is a part of the military that falls under the Department of Homeland Security, as you're aware. And they drafted a new policy that classified items as, quote, potentially divisive, but no longer classifying the swastika, which is an emblem of fascism and white supremacy.
Potentially divisive?
Yeah, right. Linked to the murder of millions of Jews and deaths of more than 400,000 U.S. troops who died fighting in World War II.
There's a chance someone might find that offensive. Just a chance. I don't know.
They would, again, according to this draft, classify this Nazi-era insignia as, quote, potentially divisive under new guidelines. This was to take place on December 15th. Thank you for sending that to me. We had it on our radar, but we felt it important to update that because confronted with this reality, once the news got out, the Coast Guard said, "Oh no! I think we broke that meeting too early." It is not an updated policy, but a new policy to combat any misinformation and doubling down on the U.S. Coast Guard forbidding these symbols, actually, is what we meant to say. Yeah. So now the Coast Guard is again classifying swastikas and nooses as hate symbols. Again, the Washington Post reported under the new guidelines they weren't hate symbols, new classifications. And that was to take place December 15th. And that was to correspond to Pete Hegseth's crusade against woke culture. But then late yesterday, they published a new policy that describes nooses and swastikas as hate symbols and not just, quote, potentially divisive as they were expressly prohibited. And so they seem to have reversed policy based on probably public reaction. Yes, I'm sorry. You're going to say something?
I could just imagine what happened at the Coast Guard. I mean, was it somebody who didn't have permission that altered the policy, and then some higher up said, "No, wait a minute, no." Who put that out?
I'm with you.
How that went down, like how that decision was even made to reclassify things, and then who came in and said, "Nope, we can't do that."
Yeah, I mean, it's absolutely insane that they would even have the conversation to begin with. This guy Hegseth is such a lightweight, and so he's concentrating on these cultural wedge issues associated with woke culture. You'll hear about the trans community. I can't wait to start hearing about trans athletes again. When they're on the run, that's where they go. But I think the stink around policy now is so substantial. And of course, cost of living is getting so very high. It's going the opposite direction as promised by this president, who's a flim-flam artist. He's a con man. And so anyway, that con is carried by others who are up for a re-election or election. And so I think that stink and the general reality is setting in a way that woke culture stuff, and trying to blame the trans community and Joe Biden for everything, don't know that it's going to cut. I think they're going to have to pull another rabbit out of their hat, which will be associated with, as I was mentioning in the first half hour, some kind of creating a chaos, creating an excuse to deploy troops, maybe even getting into a war in Venezuela. I mean, that might be that some sort of military operation, both as distraction and also as an excuse to, during wartime, we must postpone an election, handle various pushback in America's cities or in America's communities that are on the verge of teetering into some kind of unrest. These will be excuses to deploy the military. So, I mean, watch for that. Certainly hope it doesn't happen, but I think it isn't beyond the pale at all to suggest it might. I did want to mention the Mamdani meeting, which is happening, I think, right now. Mm-hmm. Trump and Mamdani are meeting. Of course, Mamdani, the new New York City mayor-elect of New York City. I mean, Trump called him a communist. Trump called him pretty much every name in the book. And that probably helped Mamdani in a way. I mean, having Trump in New York, I'm talking about, come out against you is probably something to buoy your candidacy. Trump wanted Cuomo. In a weird way, he wanted another Democrat who was more mainstream. Mamdani was just shaking up the snow globe too much. Mamdani really is Trumpian from the standpoint of being an outsider who wants to shake up the snow globe. But a lot of his policies that are associated with, free this, free that, underwriting the transportation system, for example, in New York, a rent control expansion, even free housing in some areas and for some communities. These are things that can only be paid for with additional taxes. And just on this note, in New York, you'll need support from Albany on that. You'll need support from the state capitol. In other words, you'll need to find that money. It's not sitting there in New York City waiting to be deployed. And so Mamdani, I think, who can know, but I think he has the courage of his convictions. I think he's sincere. But I also think that the reality is that, like Trump and like also many other politicians, and I don't mean to put him in the same category, but I do, to make a point, they say stuff that lands well, but the actual X's and O's of getting it done can be far more complex. Now, I think where it separates from Trump in the case of Mamdani is that Trump is just a con artist. He's just saying stuff. I can end the war in Ukraine in 24 hours. I don't even have to be in office. I just have to pick up the phone and I can do that. These are the sorts of things he said, oh my God, we've never had inflation as bad as we have it under Joe Biden. Never in our history have we had inflation like this. I'm going to take care of that, and we won't even have to work through lunch. That's the Donald Trump dance. We have trillions of dollars worth of monies coming into the U.S. because of the tariffs. And that's just a lie. We don't even have $8 trillion coming through. But these are the ways in which Trump is just pulling stuff out of his ass. But America, and I think this just reflects so poorly on us, America is filled with those who are ready to believe that crap and are also feeling, to be fair to Americans, as though they aren't part of the system anymore. The system is for the moneyed class. And I don't even know that they would find it that way. I mean, that they would just find themselves in debt. They're in debt because of student debt. They're in debt because of the stuff that they want to keep up with the Joneses a little bit, just in a middle class kind of lifestyle, just to buy tickets to the Taylor Swift concert, whatever it is. Everything is so goddamn expensive. And so to handle that, you bump a credit card here, a credit card there. You take a home loan if you have any equity in your residence. And you begin to just find yourself underwater. And some flim-flam artist like Donald Trump comes in and says, I'm going to take care of all of you. I'm angry at the system too. And the reality is he's all about the system. Drenched in gold, a gilded palace that he's created in the White House. It's all about backroom deals between MBS and Trump, and not even backroom. They're front room deals between the Trump family and these Middle Eastern oligarchs and dictators. So American oligarchs meet Middle Eastern oligarchs, and they make their own deals. And these very Americans we talk about they're left out in the cold, far worse than they were with the Democrats in power. And so all of your subsidies for ACA, all of your subsidies for medical care, for SNAP, all the ways in which government supports you are going away under this guy who you voted for because you felt the system was leaving you out. There's no bigger lever-outer than Donald Trump and the GOP. Lift yourself up. Go get a job. That's their view.
I think you should be dinged for flim-flam. You said flim-flam twice. I don't think I've heard that for a long time.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
All right. Flim-flam gets dinged. I didn't realize it was dingable.
Yeah.
I'm going to read a couple of these if I can get this going. And then I got Mo and Michael Shure coming. Tony Ladati, 6906 with a $10 super chat. First of all, big shout out to you for giving us a super chat.
Big shout out.
We're a crowd-funded show, so any way in which the crowd funds us, we'll give you a shout out. Trump is a I mean capitalized. Trump is a capitalized, pathetic bully, joining another bully, Putin, to defend and defeat Ukraine. I'm sorry. Let me do this. Well, I should have you read it, Kim, because clearly I'm incapable of reading it.
Tony Ladani with a 10 says Trump is a pathetic bully joining another bully, Putin, to defeat Ukraine. If this were the American Revolution, he writes, Trump would be siding with King George III and threatening George Washington.
I'll ding that. Bravo. That's exactly right. I mean, it's really awful. I mean, the notion that you could craft a peace without bringing the parties associated with the conflict together is absurd on its face. So Donald Trump, using the power of America to exert pressure on Ukraine to take a deal that he's made with Putin that Ukraine was not party to, is grotesque. And these are real people with real lives. This is a country that was attacked. And this country gave up its nukes in the 90s, I'll remind you, in a deal that was supposed to, in return for giving up those nukes, return some security to Ukraine. I mean, the biggest threat to Ukraine, it was clear, was Russia. I mean, they had to pry those nukes out of Ukraine, in effect, and say, don't worry, Russia isn't going to attack, and if they do, we will be there. Well, of course, we're not there. First, we were there with weaponry. You could argue that, this sort of mission creep that Russia's been on began under Obama. But it really took flight under Trump. Under Biden and then Trump. You've seen the Russian aggression now, and I think every day I'm reading about what happened overnight with drone strikes, and you can see the Russian aggression having been amplified now with Trump in power. But again, I'll just say, Obama, with the southern part of Ukraine being taken, the port area of Ukraine being taken, which is critical, and then there was no real American reaction, and then the expansion and the real attack on Ukraine during the Biden administration, and now, as I say, amplified under Trump. Anyway, thanks for that. Was all just in response to that comment. Mike and Willow Glenn, in memory of
he contributes $8.10, $8.10.
Our dear KGO, the old radio station
Big shout
from which
out.
we came.
Thanks, Mike.
Driving to New York, stuck on Florida traffic. Says, well, yeah. So you're driving up from Florida to New York. Wes is in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
He's our stalwart Florida listener viewer. On his way to New York, I guess, for the holiday? Probably, huh? Yeah, Florida traffic is pretty much traffic everywhere. It's getting pretty competitive. The Last Angry Manny says, here's $2 to get the show started. Oh, it must have come in early.
Yeah.
What? No probiotic drink to sell as well? The Last Angry Manny says, yeah, I know. We're down to merch. We've got no probiotic drink.
Yeah.
Got to get going on that. Angel within the Bay Area with a $10 super chat. What up, Angel?
Big shout out.
Big shout out to you. I'm a hoe. Is that what that says?
I think so. I'm a hoe down.
Where am I hoe? All my hoes for the hoedown. The hoedown is going to, I got to ask Mo Kelly if he wants to join the hoedown. It's December 1st at 6 p.m. And you can join by, we'll tell you how to join in a little bit. It's an off-air virtual meetup. December 1st, 6 p.m. It's our holiday hoedown throwdown. So if you feel like hoedowning and throwdowning, 2 hours of hoeing down, $50 donation via PayPal. Or PayPal links under all of our videos. And note HH when you make the donation. Then you've locked your spot. Send an email to confirm your spot. mtsmeetup@gmail.com. Let us know. I did it. I put down the 50. Lock me a spot. mtsmeetup@gmail.com. Our holiday hoedown throwdown starts promptly at 6 o'clock on December 1st. Want you there. Chaplain Fred said, I would like to participate with the hoedown, but I had to cancel my PayPal due to my account being hacked. Any other way I can save a spot? Yes, there's always one or two of these. Yeah, if you drop me a line, I'll figure out a different way to do it for you, Chaplain Fred. So you drop me a line at themarkthompsonshow@gmail.com. themarkthompsonshow@gmail.com. All right, we continue.
The Mark Thompson Show.
On Fridays, we like to get a perspective on the week that we've just concluded. We try to address some of the issues that are, that are hitting America and the world, and we do it with two very distinguished guests. This guy has forgotten more about politics than most of us will ever know. You've seen him reporting from Trump rallies, from COVID wards. Great mind on politics. How about the great Michael Shure, everyone? Yeah. And this guy, such a distinguished history, Washington, D.C., all the way to the West Coast. His very popular show, The Mo Kelly Show. Now he brings it in pieces to our show. He is the wonderful Mo Kelly.
Good to see you guys.
Yeah, great to have you guys on board. So I guess I'll just start with the news of the moment overnight. Donald Trump and his rants that were associated with there were congressional Democrats who had military experience who emphasized that there should be no following of illegal orders on the part of any person in the military. And we played the video in the first half hour, and I wonder if you can comment on the president's reaction, which was these are seditious Democrats, and that sedition can be punished by death. And then, of course, the thing that happens is once he's posted that, others say, yeah, hang him, the way George Washington said that seditious members of the military should be hanged. In other words, it creates a momentum of its own. And as I was noting in the first half hour of the show, there are congressional Democrats now, Senate and House, that are saying, hey, we need additional security. We've had almost 1,000 threats to our person, so death threats. So I wonder if you can speak to this, Michael Shure. This, this upping of the rhetoric to a level that, is, again, maybe beyond the pale.
It's beyond the pale, but we don't know what the pale is, right? Because it's gone beyond many times. He wanted to hang Mike Pence, and that was, or he certainly didn't dissuade people from saying that. And so I think you push the envelope until it pushes back. And I have a feeling, as I've predicted before, and as we're seeing a little bit now, the envelope's pushing back a bit. I don't think that the Republican Party writ large. And what I say about that is they went along with this guy and they're still going along with him. But there are ambitious people within that party, and there are people that want to see it go in a direction where they can maintain power. And these are not the tactics, nor is this the rhetoric that people feel is going to work on an electorate that doesn't have Donald Trump on the ballot. So I think that's the difference. But this is hideous, and it overshadows what would have been. I mean, first of all, like, this should have been full mast everywhere. It's all anybody should be talking about. But then we should also be talking about how nooses and swastikas are okay in the Coast Guard. We should also be talking about how he is singling out journalists and saying quiet piggy. There's so much to talk about all at once, and that's the chaos that he likes to spread, and that's what we're dealing with now. But this is particularly egregious until he says something tonight and we forget about this.
It is weird, Mo Kelly, that you do begin to lose it all in the maelstrom of madness that comes out of the White House.
There are no consequences to anything he says. There are no consequences to anything that he does. So after a while, I guess we get anesthetized. I guess we get numb to whatever he says and does. And unfortunately, it only works for him. We had a good 3 months, if you include what happened to Charlie Kirk, about toning down the political rhetoric. And people wanted to point fingers at the Democrats as somehow endorsing or encouraging a certain type of violent rhetoric. And then you have the president of the United States, who has never made any attempt to edit himself or limit himself with the type of vulgarity and the political rhetoric, which is demonstrative of willful expansion of that violent rhetoric, and there's almost no pushback. And so how do you work against that when there are no consequences for someone who needs the most of consequences? When I say that our democracy is broken in terms of norms and traditions, and also just basic decency, dignity, and decorum. And until we hold that singular individual to some sort of account, just on a cultural and social level, forget political and legislative and legal level, just on a basic decency level, then none of this really matters at all, because he's going to do it again. To Michael Shure's point, he's going to do it again tonight. He's going to do it again tomorrow. It'll be something else where we run with our hair on fire talking about, I can't believe that he said that. I can't believe that he's calling for violence. I can't believe that he's doing something so against what we think we're supposed to be as Americans. He's always done that. And there's nothing that has happened to dissuade him or deter him.
Yeah, you make the point. I mean, decency kind of left the building right away, and when he ascended to power. And it's made, I think, this point very well in the chat when someone said that he pardoned people who were found guilty of seditious conspiracy. It's true. Fragenvassen says this and reminds us that those who are involved in some of the most violent acts perpetrated associated with politics are sitting there with presidential pardons today. And that includes Proud Boys and Three Percenters. I mean, these groups that are dedicated in a way, these are white militia groups dedicated to the kind of political violence that is supposedly abhorred by this man.
And what about the militia groups that are ICE right now? I mean, and the tactics that are militia type tactics being employed by our own government to deal with the immigration issue, as Pope Leo has said, as so many people who are outside the United States have said, there may be an immigration problem, but this is not how you deal with the immigration problem. But again, to what Mo's saying, to what you're saying, Mark, this is militia, this is indecent, this is otherizing, and it did have some currency with Trump when he was a candidate and as he is president. I think it's something that, especially when the gerrymandering seems to not be going the way the Republicans want it to, they're finding other ways that they can try and hold on to power. And one of those ways right now is pushing back at some of this rhetoric and trying to get back to what they refer to as normal.
Yeah, I mean, you make a super important point because it relates to the politics of all of this. That is to say, assuming there is some sort of election with a normal rhythm, I'm wondering if the stink from all of this is such, as you say, or you imply, kind of they're trying to get away from, with even baby steps, some of this rhetoric and some of what this president, who appears a bit damaged, at least in polling, is saying. And so what about that, Mo Kelly? I mean, at some point, he's reached a tipping point on this stuff. You say there are no consequences, but in a sense, as Michael has sort of suggested, if you look at the tea leaves as far as the Republicans are concerned, it does seem as though they are leaning away from him as opposed to backing him the way they did when he first took power.
I would agree that this president is more vulnerable than ever before. I would agree that there's a little bit more willingness to criticize him. If you look at the Nancy Mace or Marjorie Taylor Greene, more so than ever before. But fundamentally, the Republican Party is not of the mindset where they're going to do anything to thwart him, to stop him, to slow him down in a material way. Now, you have individual Republicans who are probably reading the tea leaves, making the calculation as far as 3 years from now, who presumably is going to be the titular head of the party, but they're not trying to get in the way and be a roadblock to this president. And until I see someone throw themselves on the tracks for something that matters in a legislative sense, not name Jeffrey Epstein, then I'm going to withhold the opinion that this president is on his way out. I think he's more vulnerable, but I don't know if someone's going to step in the breach and also take that fire, if you will, political rhetoric aside, and also be the anti-Trump within the Republican Party big picture.
I want to get to Epstein in a bit, but I want to ask you first about something that just shocked me. And that was, and again, I know you'll probably say you shouldn't be shocked by anything now, and probably you'd be right to say that. But, you know, the gilded life that we've now seen the presidency take on in this palatial White House filled with this gold crap that is everywhere, in a way it must have been a familiar sight to the Saudis as they pulled up to the White House. But the deals that are being made, the mix now of the kind of profit-taking from the presidency and the policy making that is linked to that profit-taking, it's unprecedented in American history. And I'm just talking about the Saudi thing. I'm not even talking about the $230 million money grab that the president has made based on him being an aggrieved party because of legal challenges that he suffered during his 4 years away from office. I'm not even talking about many of the other ways in which they've enriched themselves. I'm just talking about the Saudi deal. There are Trump towers planned. There are Trump resorts planned now. Saudi Arabia has got their hooks into this administration in such a big way, and it's all right there out in the open, Michael Shure.
Yeah, and this country, and when you see the types of people that went to the state dinner, when you see Tim Cook there, when you see a lot of leaders of industry in the United States, it's sickening, really, because you see this cronyism. Now, he's not the first president to engage and to actually probably profit off of a relationship with the Saudis. I look at both Bushes, the father particularly. But there was a petroleum business going on there. It wasn't something that he used the White House for, and I'm talking about George H.W. Bush, to further. Whereas you see, this is what Trump is doing now. And I think that when you look at the emoluments clause of the Constitution, you look at the way that this White House, both the first Trump White House and this Trump White House, have profited incredibly, or have set the stage to profit incredibly, it is both unconstitutional and illegal, but also down the road yesterday, that the House was debating the Stock Act to try and stop members of Congress from dealing in stocks beyond a certain small monetary amount. And then at the other end of Pennsylvania Avenue, you see somebody who is kind of raping the American people over the fact that they want to do business with a Saudi regime, which basically, I mean, you look at this prince responsible for Jamal Khashoggi's death, a journalist, not to mention the blatant use of the Oval Office as a way to make a lot of money. And it's happening right before our eyes. But to what we were all talking about, you and me and Mo, we were talking about the fact that they just distract all the time. By the time we're talking about, we're going to be done talking about the Saudis. Find me someone talking about Saudi Arabia in any of your conversations tomorrow. They will be talking about something else, whether it be Epstein or sedition or nooses and swastikas. And then next week, they're not going to be talking about any of that. It is a successful formula that the Trump White House has unfortunately put into place. But what I'm saying is that success, like all head coaches who get fired, that success is going to evaporate at some point. And it usually evaporates because somebody else wants that power.
This corruption issue, Mo Kelly, is something, as you know, that I've really concentrated on. I mention it a lot on this show. I think it is a political winner for the Democrats, and they should talk about corruption. One of the reasons I think that they don't is because everybody's in a glass house. Nobody's got a completely clean record, and you find that even with Epstein. Now you're hearing, didn't you took money from Epstein or whatever. But I really believe that there is a corruption here on a level, and everything is on a scale, right? And the scale is broken, and it's off the scale when you look at the kind of self-enrichment that this administration has been about. And so I find it really a corruption on a rotted, disgusting, grotesque level that we have never really seen. Even as Michael Shure alludes to the Bush administration, I'd suggest here, and we just buried Dick Cheney, I guess, who was also part of the Halliburton grift that was the Iraq War. But I'd suggest that this is really something else. Will people forget it, as Michael is saying? Will it be sort of just fade because of all the other crap that's going on?
I think there's something else to consider, and not that I'm going to defend the Democrats, but I want to get into the head of the Democrats. And I get the sense, and I hope Michael would correct me if I'm wrong, or you can disagree with me. I get the sense that the Democrats are gun shy. They've been told for so long to not make it about Trump, to make it about the American people, talk about the economy, talk about those kitchen table issues. They forgot to talk about the American people during the 2024 election cycle, or so they were told. That they've gone to the other end of the spectrum, and they don't want to necessarily focus on Trump as a unifying message going into 2026. If that is true, then they'll be less likely to coalesce around this message of corruption, because talking about Trump being corrupt is not a new idea. It's not a novel idea. It may be an accurate representation of this administration, but it may not be the unifier as far as the electorate that they would want for the midterms. I agree with you. Democrats should be talking about the corruption of it all. I don't know if it's the message that the party writ large is going to embrace, given the results of 2024 and how they had their hands slapped talking about all the issues and ills of Donald Trump.
Just speaking on this notion of corruption and the money grab, there was in my view, just an incredibly balls move, I'll just say, on the part of various legislators to sneak into the continuing resolution that was just passed to open the government, this measure to provide for senators suing the government for $500,000 apiece for their phone numbers being included in this dragnet of phone numbers that were reviewed by the FBI and the Justice Department during January 6th investigations to figure out if any of the calls coming in and out of these senators' offices were to or from any of these J6 protesters, rioters, etc., organizers. So they've each indicated they want to sue for $500,000. And this was snuck into this legislation, as I say, this allowing them to do so. So Lindsey Graham just blocked this effort on the part of Democrats to delete this particular proviso, this particular package that was within the overall package, the ability to sue the government for $500,000. Lindsey Graham just blocked it. You can explain this to me, Mo or Michael. I guess any one senator can block it. So the Democrat-led coalition that was to get this bill to repeal this shutdown deal provision allowing for these $500,000 lawsuits from senators. That was blocked by Lindsey Graham. This seems, again, to be like another level of grift.
Well, it's grift, but it's also what's interesting about it are the people who are on that list, right? When you look at the list, it's got Ron Johnson and Graham himself and Haggerty and Cynthia Lummis and Blackburn, and I'm forgetting Dan Sullivan and Tommy Tuberville. There are people that are running next year. They're running either for governorships in the case of Blackburn and Tuberville, and there are people that are running for re-election in the case, I know, of Lummis and Dan Sullivan and even Lindsey Graham. Everybody there is up for election, I believe, on that list of 8 senators. So what are they trying to do? Protect the power. They're trying to protect themselves here against any kind of backlash for what might have been there. And I think that's what's at play here. It's all about protecting power. It's all about protecting elections. If in fact all this gerrymandering is going to end up backfiring on Republicans, which it looks like it may, at least in some cases, and Democrats are going to be the ones who gain seats in the House, they're going to do everything with the good candidates Democrats have. The Republicans are going to do everything to hold on to the Senate, which they probably will be able to do, but it's going to be very difficult, and they have to take measures like this. So there's a lot of politics that goes into everything we're hearing right now.
Mo, $500,000 for these senators. I mean, it also just is it seems like a reasonable. It feels like it falls in the category of what Trump is doing with the $230 million that he wants. The idea was it 230? How much is Trump wanting to grab from the government? I'm losing all the numbers.
230 million.
Yeah. Anyway, my point is simply it falls in that same category where, I was the aggrieved party. You never should have made me part of this investigation, even though it was anonymized information. That's to say there were no names associated. It was just phone numbers from inside the Capitol. In other words, a reasonable, it would seem, investigation. It seems like a money grab to me.
There are multiple levels, and multiple things are true here. Yes, it is a money grab, but also it's almost like a payoff in the sense of, yes, these senators want to get paid, but they also know that they have a complicit DOJ, going back to the $230 million claim by the Trump administration, which coincides with the approximate amount of cost for the ballroom, where that the DOJ is going to rubber stamp it and just pay these claims, if you will, out. So if you have multiple senators who want to avoid any type of scent of impropriety or investigation, they are now guarded against that, and they're also rewarded for that. So it's more than just about getting paid. It's also about avoiding any type of scrutiny. And it started with the beginning of the administration when you had Trump firing the inspectors general. This is all about making sure that they are insulated against any type of retribution, investigation, any type of subpoenas where they might be called to on Capitol Hill. And this is going to extend well into 2026, even if the Democrats should retake the House. Do you think that Jim Jordan is going to actually comply with the subpoena now, even though he didn't during the Biden administration? So this is going to be more of the same, but this was going to be an opportunity to not only get paid out, but also protect and insulate themselves against any type of investigation.
Now to Epstein. This is the week that Donald Trump signed the overwhelmingly passed demand, it's a legislative demand in essence, for the release of the Epstein files, reports, information. And it happened at the same time as the DOJ announcing a continuing investigation and new investigations into Epstein, which seemed to provide maybe some legal cover for a lot of this not getting released, because you can't release a bunch of this stuff if it is part of an ongoing investigation. Still, it seemed as though Trump tapped out on there's no there, and he got his functionaries, Bondi and Patel, to similarly, dance the same way. Even Mike Johnson, all of them now are singing from the new hymnal that was just issued by Trump. Speak to me about the Epstein files, Michael Shure, and also maybe note that it's in Epstein an equal opportunity offender. There are names like Noam Chomsky and Larry Summers, and they're mentioned not in necessarily ways that are damning from the sexual improprieties or illegalities, to be polite about it, but just in terms of an association.
Right, but there are. But if the Democrats lose an election because Noam Chomsky was associated with Jeffrey Epstein, they weren't going to win that election at all. What I'm saying is, while there are a lot of people who know who Noam Chomsky is and who
let me just mention, because we mentioned Noam Chomsky. Noam Chomsky wrote Epstein a recommendation letter. Okay, that's what it was. Just so people who do know Noam Chomsky, Noam Chomsky was involved in it wasn't like he got a massage or anything. It was that he wrote Epstein a recommendation letter. Anyway,
for the
please
moment
continue.
in American politics, though, the game has changed, right? So this is about Donald Trump. This is not about Larry Summers, who most people don't know who he is. Most people, young people, certainly don't know who he is, don't know who Noam Chomsky is, unless they've read him at university or since. And I'm not meaning to belittle their connection, involvement, or to make it any bigger than it is, because I don't know what it was. But this is about Donald Trump and Donald Trump's association with Jeffrey Epstein. And the reason it's about Donald Trump, he's the president of the United States, the sitting president. So that's why it's more important that it's about him than it is about Bill Clinton. But the other side of that is that he has a following. We've called it a cult. We've called it a base, whatever we want to call it. The following he has is serious. It's strong. And the only issue that seems to divide it in any way is Jeffrey Epstein. It's the only place that people will get off of the MAGA train, both rhetorically and actually. If they know that Jeffrey Epstein stuff is true, many voters have said that they are not going to be a part of that. They don't, that would be the straw that breaks the camel's back. Yes, he could shoot someone on Fifth Avenue. Yes, he could rape a woman and be convicted of it in court, and he can grift the money out of our pockets as much as he wants. But if this is true, many of those voters say that they're not going to come back. Republicans want to hang on to those voters in 2026 and in 2028. And that's what it comes down to, again, is the politics of what it means. So pushing back, pushing it away is important politically. That they're going to stop caring about the judicial welfare of Donald Trump at a certain point.
The news of the moment I'm just seeing from Kim. A top Democrat in Congress is telling Attorney General Pam Bondi that ongoing investigations can't be used to withhold any Jeffrey Epstein files from being released. In a letter to Bondi, Congressman Robert Garcia, the top Democrat on the House Oversight Committee, says the subpoena issued requires the complete unredacted Epstein files to be released to the committee. Bondi has said a new probe into Epstein's ties into high-profile Democrats has been launched at the direction of the president. Garcia saying any additional federal investigations launched by the DOJ or the president do not impact the committee's subpoena. Mo Kelly.
Color me unpersuaded. That may be an accurate representation of what the law says, but we all know that this Trump administration is law and constitutionally averse. So if it comes down to not following the law, if it comes down to protecting the president, or following the law, they're going to protect the president. If anything, it's something that would be tied up in court for I don't know how long if the Trump administration should go down this route of delaying and denying and obfuscating and refusing to release all of the Jeffrey Epstein files unredacted. I'm not of the opinion that they're going to do that. And these open investigations, air quotes, are going to play some sort of role. It wasn't by chance. It was by choice that they made this announcement, and they made it definitively. And the timing was also suspect as far as why they made the announcement into these investigations of Bill Clinton and other prominent Democrats. And to Michael Shure's point, this is about the sitting president. And they're going to try to protect the sitting president, if only because the fortunes of the sitting president also intertwine with the fortunes of this Congress, or at least this Republican conference. And they know if this president suffers in great way, that also their prospects for 2026 would also suffer. So at least in the short term, they're going to defend this president. And this is just one tool at their disposal to delay the complete release of the Epstein files. The complete release will only increase the amount of vulnerability and also exposure that the Trump administration would have. There's no upside. Let me just put it that way. There's no upside to any revelation coming out of the Epstein files. So they're going to delay and deny as long as they can.
And to add to that, if I can, Mark and Mo, this is, again, politics, right? So what Robert Garcia, a rising star in Democratic politics, a former mayor of Long Beach, California, somebody who is seen as very, very tough in terms of rhetoric. I think that what Garcia is trying to do here, very blatantly, I'm not a genius for pointing this out, but is putting Republicans in Congress in the position of having to go against the law and having to defend the president. That's where Democrats, we were talking earlier, and we talk all the time about what can Democrats do? What can their messaging be? Why aren't they being louder? Should they talk about Trump or should they talk about Americans? All of this. They don't really have a platform, right? These are the platforms they have. And until elections start next year, in the spring of next year, really, they're not going to have a platform. But this is the kind of thing what Garcia is doing. Mo is right about everything. This will get caught in the courts. This isn't going to go anywhere. The attorney general is going to push back. But who in Congress is pushing back on it? Who is obscuring the truth here when it comes to Jeffrey Epstein? So Garcia is making those people have to buy into this codicil in that bill that said that it's a pending investigation, we can't release these. That's the thing. Republicans are still hiding. Garcia is saying they can't hide, and then they're going to have to push back on that. And
then the political food fight that is really all about us versus them, which the president established so early on. I mean, Trump is all about us versus them. It extends to this, right? With Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton now being subpoenaed, Comer demanding that there actually be a presence of Bill and Hillary Clinton, and that is to say they should appear for depositions next month because the probe that he's leading, the House Oversight Committee probe, is now going to include, he's leading the probe on Epstein, Bill and Hillary Clinton. I mean, is that kind of ancient history, or are they still, on the marquee high enough for that to matter politically?
They're desperate. I mean, the Republicans are desperate in this case, and I'll let Mo answer it. I'm sure you were asking him, but
I would agree.
It's both of you. Yeah.
In radio, they say play the hits. In music radio, play the hits. Hillary Clinton is a hit. Barack Obama is a hit. Michelle Obama is a hit. And you notice they're probably featured in the news about anything. If Michelle Obama says something on her podcast, it's in right-wing media. So this is something which fuels itself. Hillary Clinton never gets old. Bill Clinton never gets old as far as the right-wing media machine. So whether Bill and Hillary ever show up for an actual subpoena deposition is neither here nor there. They get to talk about it while talking about the Epstein files and deflect away from the central person connected to Jeffrey Epstein in this moment, Donald Trump. No one really gives a damn about Bill Clinton and 25 years ago. No one really does. Now, if he should be caught up in it, if he's implicated in it, by all means, sanction him, incriminate him, do whatever you need to do. But a reasonable person, and I'm not saying MAGA's reasonable, but a reasonable person knows that anyone involved with Jeffrey Epstein does include the name Donald Trump, who will never be subpoenaed, who will never give a deposition. This is about playing the hits. They know that certain names, and you can add in AOC and now Jasmine Crockett as well. Anything having to do with those individuals work well on right-wing media. So that's where the focus is going to be, not on Donald Trump, not on Jeffrey Epstein's connection to Donald Trump.
I want to finish up with a question about the consolidation of power in media and the consolidation of information to a handful of people or entities, all of whom are beholden to Trump. The latest is that Larry Ellison, who, as you know, is already a gillionaire from Oracle, his son is part of this media group that is the Ellison Company. And they've already discussed in the acquisition of Warner Brothers, firing certain anchors on CNN that Donald Trump doesn't like. Larry Ellison discussed firing 2 CNN anchors that Trump is said to hate if Paramount acquires Warner Brothers. Larry Ellison, the billionaire CEO of Oracle and the largest shareholder of Paramount Skydance. Of course, that was a deal that was approved, and there were a lot of connections to decisions made about, for example, Stephen Colbert's cancellation, just in getting that approval. The largest shareholder of Paramount Skydance floated potential programming changes that could be made at CNN if Paramount acquires Warner Brothers Discovery and CNN's parent company, according to The Guardian. The Guardian reported that Ellison floated firing CNN anchors Brianna Keller and Aaron Burnett, two hosts that Trump is said to dislike. It's, again, leaving aside the specific personalities, to me, it's just, again, the consolidation of power pertaining to media and relevant to information in the hands of those who have a specific political agenda.
So it's good news for Mo and me, right?
Right.
I mean, I guess it is what it is, Michael Shure. I mean,
No, it isn't what it is. It doesn't have to be what it is. I mean, that the fact that it's so nakedly said. First of all, the fact that Paramount is going to get this deal done and Netflix isn't is just a guessing game that no one on this panel, I'm sure, knows very has hard facts about. The other side of it is that Warner Brothers already split. Right? They could just not take a deal and they could just forge ahead the way this is if the deal isn't good enough for them. But it's control of the media, which is what Donald Trump wants, which is why, I mean, the Ellisons or the son, David, was at the White House for the Saudi prince's dinner. These are the people that are involved with our White House right now. And they're the people that are okay. The Next Star people and the Sinclair people were okay taking Jimmy Kimmel off the air because the president, doesn't like them. So you get that. It's very Nixonian, actually, and it's probably a temporary thing that's going to happen in this country for a little while. But I could see this deal not happening too.
I mean, it may be Nixonian, but Nixon wouldn't say I'm looking at pulling their license because, which is the other side of this, right? And literally, Trump said the other day, I didn't like that question from you, reporter from ABC News, Mary Bruce in this case. And you know what? I'm going to have my FCC chairman look at your license, the license of the ABC stations.
I just think Nixon didn't think of it.
Okay. Go ahead, Mo.
I'm a little bit more philosophical in the way that Mitch McConnell had a 30-year plan for judges and justices in shaping the courts and what would be the political landscape. I think if Roger Ailes were still around, he'd be doing the same thing, just in a media sense. We know that the right wing is trying to finesse these mergers and push out certain commentators and hosts to shape the media landscape long after Donald Trump should shrink from public view, and whatever MAGA should evolve into, they are still a voting body and they need something more than just Fox News. And I think this is a part of a larger desire to control the media landscape and shape what political messaging may be 15 and 20 years from now, as opposed to just on one network in one space during just one election cycle.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, that's a pretty sadly bleak outlook. I have to indulge this one questioner on the chat because he's angry at me and he's trolling me now. Mark, stop softballing questions and asked Michael and Mo this question. Why won't you ask my question? So I'll ask it, Phineas. I'll ask your effing question. No need to troll me. Ask my question. Why doesn't the New York DA arrest Trump for statutory rape and sex trafficking? Really? Okay. Go ahead. Michael? Unmute, please, Michael, and then answer. Michael, unmute. Does Michael not hear me?
I can unmute too. And I said, I get the question first, thinking that if I muted it, maybe you'd go to Mo, but I still get it first. The truth is that I don't know. I don't know the answer to what is a good question and an honest musing, but I do think that even in the case of Trump, arresting a sitting president is not the avenue down which people want to go as as distasteful as that is to people sitting here, I just don't think that's what we do in America. We did it after he was president last time, and maybe it'll happen again after he's president this time. But I wouldn't hold out hope for that. I also think the optics of it in the immediate are great, and they're real, and they're probably necessary. I don't think, it's politicians who make these decisions, and I don't think it's politically prudent.
It's not politically palatable, Michael, Mo Kelly.
Well, not only that, let's talk about the specifics. Since Phineas was very specific, talking about statutory rape, do we have a victim who's going to come forward? Is there going to be any type of testimony to support a probable cause finding and to something you could take to the grand jury and get an indictment? And that's separate and distinct from what the SCOTUS has already decided. There are a number of reasons why you wouldn't, but since Phineas said statutory rape, who is the victim? What are the circumstances? What are we arresting him for? Allegedly having sex with whom? I would need a hell of a lot more before I would go on any media outlet and say, we need to arrest the sitting president for statutory rape. We need something more than that, because we're nowhere near probable cause.
Well, that's true. That's true. But I'm saying that even if we have all that, I still don't see in 2025 that we're going to arrest a sitting president.
Agreed.
Well, with that, guys, I thank you. I'll mention that this is an interesting configuration. Mo and Michael on different sides of the NFL allegiance board. Mo, a devoted Rams fan, and Michael, a devoted Niners fan. Michael, so devoted, I should tell you this, Mo, that he has jumped on a plane with his son to go to a Niners road game. I mean, he's really he's quite the devotee. Yeah.
Can I ask Michael a question? Michael, what's it like looking up and seeing the Rams in first place?
It's awful, and it's been so long that I'd forgotten. But I feel like the depleted 49ers, they did well against the Rams once, not the second time, and we'll see where it goes. This is not our year, but you guys, if you guys have a good defense, and I hate to say it, but all the opposing team fans that go to Rams games will say that they've seen your defense be really good, and it's most of the fans that are at a Rams game are for the other team anyway. So,
I see what you did there.
Yeah, he's got the elbows out. All right, gentlemen, I'm breaking this up. Thank you both, Mo Kelly and Michael Shure. Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
So long, guys. Appreciate that. Yeah.
The Mark Thompson Show.
I know. It is a Friday. Thank you. I am delighted you're here. Smash the like button. I haven't even asked you to smash the like button. Smash it with your iron rod. Do it. Do it like a boss, baby.
With
smash
your iron rod.
I've got Michael Snyder waiting, the Culture Blaster. I have to have a quick cup of coffee before I had so much Coachella Valley coffee this morning. I feel great. Love their blend. I'm rocking the Ocotillo espresso today. They have the best coffee that you will ever taste. The best coffee that will ever cross your lips. And I'll tell you, my friends, I've had coffee with kings and princes. I've had coffee on the Croisette at Cannes in the French Riviera. I've had coffee in the riads of Morocco. I've had coffee in the tea room in New York City. And I have never tasted a coffee as delicious as Coachella Valley coffee. Go to CoachellaValleyCoffee.com. Find the bean that vibes with you. They have tasting notes under all of the beans, of profiles of everything that you will buy. It is a boutique roastery. This isn't some discounted spot. The Clarity Blend, one of my favorites with lion's mane added. And I like the Ocotillo Espresso. I also like the Sunrise Blend, which I've heard a lot of great stuff, a lot of great reaction. And Michael Snyder is drinking. You are also a big coffee drinker. Yeah, you like it too. So definitely get on Coachella Valley Coffee, CoachellaValleyCoffee.com. Again, use our discount code MARKT at checkout. for 10% off. They have teas, spices, coffees, and more. CoachellaValleyCoffee.com.
The Mark Thompson Show.
Yes, we have to do it. We brought this over from the radio. It's a feature that people have become attached to. It's a window on a state that serves up the bizarre, the lawless. This is Friday Fabulous Florida.
It's time for Friday Fabulous Florida.
There is a gigantic alligator in my kitchen.
A look at the weirdest stories from our weirdest state.
Florida man who was walking makes our top Florida story. He was walking buck naked.
No.
Yeah, that's the best way to do your walking. If you're naked, you want to be buck naked.
He just needed to be free.
36 degrees, though, on the outside. He was walking buck naked in 36-degree weather. He says he was doing a TikTok challenge, but he was arrested. And the guy who arrested him and the organization that we love down there in Florida is Polk County Sheriff Grady Judd.
What he's got going here is a situation.
Albert, show him the video on YouTube. For those who are watching on YouTube, here he is captured on surveillance video. And he was driving to work earlier this morning. I'm sorry, a man was driving to work and spotted this guy. That's who shot the video. But then he was spotted on surveillance video as well, walking down the road, 36 degrees, and he was completely nude.
Why not? You know,
this picture you're seeing apparently was captured on the Tesla camera of the guy driving to work there on Broken Arrow Trail. Polk County Sheriff Grady Judd said, "You know what buck naked means? He's not even wearing any socks. You can be naked and wearing socks, but buck naked means you don't have anything on."
Image is hideous.
Yeah. Grateful for that clarification from the sheriff.
There's a reason that this place is fun.
We asked him, "Are you cold?" said Grady Judd. "Not a bit." "What are you doing?" "Well, it's a TikTok challenge," he said. "You don't even have your cell phone? You're really naked when you don't have your cell phone," Sheriff Grady Judd said. So we addressed him for obvious violations of the law. He must have meant arrested him.
Mm-hmm.
He went to the jail, and after all, he went there without any clothes on, Grady said, and that's how he arrived at Bookin. We said, "Here he comes, buck naked." His name is Anthony Day, and
I'm sure this happens quite often in Florida. I wonder if they have a special towel they put down on the back of the, the squad car for the people that are nude in Florida.
I would hope so. You're right.
Yeah.
There is a lot of nudity, and certainly based on the temperatures there during the wintertime, towel would be a welcome thing. A stylish passenger pup is safe after the driver is arrested for DUI. It happened in West Palm Beach. A well-dressed passenger pup safe after its Florida caregiver was arrested for DUI. According to the West Palm Beach cops, officers responded to a crash and were nearly hit by an oncoming vehicle. The vehicle was pulled over. The driver was found to be intoxicated. No one was injured in the crash, but there was this dog that was dressed in dapper fashion that had been along for the ride. You can see the picture of the dog alongside the cop. The dog is fine, and everyone is okay after the DUI booking. And finally, a Florida homeowner is sued by the community district over a foot-tall cross. And this homeowner wins $70,000. So this is a 5-year dispute that's been going on in the Villages. You remember the Villages? That's where they're all hopped up on Cialis or whatever and all partying.
It's where the good stuff goes down.
Yeah. There was not a 12-inch cross. It has to be a 12-foot cross, isn't it? Yeah.
I don't know. Look at it. It's just the size of a planter. It doesn't look that big.
Oh, you're right. It's not 12. You're right. It's not. It looks bigger than 12 inches, but I don't know. Whatever. It looks bigger than a foot. Anyway, they say in the headline they say it's 12 feet. In the article they say 12 inches. Anyway, you take your pick. It looks to me like we're deciding it's about a foot and a half.
Yeah.
It's in a homeowner's yard, and it's ended this dispute in the Villages with a settlement worth nearly $250,000. What? The agreement requires the local district to pay the Andersons, I guess that's their crew, a penalty and their legal costs while allowing the cross to stay in place.
What?
Yeah.
Who was complaining about it? The Villages, like HOA?
Yeah, it sounds to me like Wayne and Bonnie Anderson were served a notice from the Village Community Development District, the CDD as we call it. That's the entity which oversees the Andersons' neighborhood within the Villages. Yeah. And it stated that the couple was in violation of community standards regarding lawn ornaments. Someone anonymously complained about their cross, and they said, we thought it was an April Fool's Day joke. Like, who could have a problem with this cross? I'm kind of on their side. What's the big deal? Anderson said, I won't move it. So they issued a $25 fine every day that the cross remained in the yard. And the last I heard, he said, the fine was $44,000 for us.
Wow.
Then, following the fines, came a lawsuit filed by the Village Community Development District. It's not hurting anybody. There's no harm, he said, Anderson, the owner. In law, there has to be harm. What's the harm behind all this? After 5.5 years of legal back and forth, a judge ordered both sides to settle the matter out of court. And the Village Community Development District has to pay $173,000 in court and legal fees. They also have to pay $70,000 to the Andersons.
Wow.
The cross gets to stay where it is. It's on a plant post. It's there stuck on a plant post. $250,000 nearly over the little white cross, Anderson said. Can you believe that? And in the end, we get to display it, and it's our constitutional God-given right.
Now up and down the street, you're going to have satanic stars and symbols, and, everyone's going to throw out their religious symbol on their lawn.
Well, as it turns out, there are more white crosses popping up throughout the neighborhood. Oh, my God. I don't know. Where's our Lord's not happy or whatever? Didn't we have that? Word from the Lord and he's not happy?
Yeah, I like that one.
I don't know.
This is a word from the Lord, and he's not happy.
That's the one I'm thinking of. All right, those are your three, and let me quickly review them. We have to pick one favorite. We don't want to. We have to. We're compelled to by the bylaws of the program. Florida man walking buck naked in 36-degree weather, claiming he was doing a TikTok challenge. Kim points out that at least he was given a towel for the ride to the station. We hope. Stylish passenger pup is safe after his driver is arrested for DUI in West Palm, and the Florida homeowner sued by the community district over his foot-tall cross wins $70,000 plus. We need a favorite. I ask you, Kim.
I'm going with buck naked means you don't even have any socks on.
Yeah, you got to know what's buck naked. What was your favorite, Michael?
Well, I just want to open up my little corner of the opinion room here by saying that I'm putting a golden calf out in front of my house now. I've been inspired by those cross people. I'm a fan of the country punk band Buck Naked and the Bare Bottom Boys. You know who I'm picking.
Okay. He likes Buck Naked. Albert, what's winning in the chat?
People like the buck naked guy. Pretty tame Florida. I didn't find anything too crazy, but if the guy was wearing socks, that would have been my vote. But I like the stylish dog. The dog was swagged out, and it survived the owner being very irresponsible driving.
Yes, you're right. Very, very true. And we'll mention, in the winter, the reptiles go to sleep. They're hibernating a bit. So that's why you're not going to hunt a lot of alligators, for those who are new to the segment, in this time of year. And that's the way it works. And that is Friday Fabulous Florida.
This has been Friday Fabulous Florida.
There is a gigantic alligator in my kitchen.
Y'all come back now, here.
Feel it in your soul. The Mark Thompson Show.
Right on, everybody, right on. Grab your cup of coffee, settle in for one of our favorite segments, which is upcoming. Are you going to be with us on the, I haven't asked you, going to be on the Holiday Hoedown Showdown?
You're not going to believe
Throwdown.
this.
We're Throwdown.
When I saw, when it was happening, my heart sunk. I am actually going to be on the Disney lot to see the Avatar sequel.
What?
And they usually, it starts at 6:30, which would have meant an early cameo by me during the Hoedown.
Yeah.
But in fact, I believe they grab your phones when you're on the lot.
Of course, because they don't want
I have a busy
What I'm going to do is at about 6:15, I'm going to turn towards Studio City and start screaming, "Hey, everybody!" And maybe, hopefully, you'll pick me up.
that would be good. Well,
Oh, girl, baby, girl.
Don't even
play.
The rest of you, please come to the Holiday Hoedown Throwdown. It's December 1st. It's a Monday, 6 o'clock Pacific time, 9 o'clock in the East, and you can find all kinds of details on how to join the Holiday Hoedown Throwdown on this show. You can, in other words, we've mentioned it a couple of times. So
This might be the first one I miss, but I'll be there in spirit.
That's cool. It opens a spot for another deserving boy or girl. This man is part of our family, our dysfunctional family. He is a brilliant. Hang on a second. What is this? Sorry, Michael. He has a. What is the oeuvre? Was your kind of your work?
Sure.
Yeah. The breadth of your work includes the subtitled Korean films, the French-speaking series that shows up on some obscure streaming service. You've got BritBox, Apple TV, Netflix, Amazon, the theater, the indie movie, the studio movie, the franchise films, the new Wicked franchise. It all is stuff that he is an expert on. He's not just a passing fan. He comes and goes on a rainbow. He is the culture blaster, Michael Snyder.
Mark, may I be the last to welcome you back from Colombia?
Oh, yeah, thank you.
And in fact,
gracias, as we say.
This
Colombia.
wonderful cup of Coachella Valley coffee
Pretty great.
that I'm sipping is in it's Colombia, not Columbia
Yes,
cup.
we do have that.
I do.
Yes,
it's great coffee.
Yeah.
Put that coffee down.
Mark,
Okay,
Mark,
yeah.
I've seen the video, and yes, Trump did call that woman reporter Piggy,
Yeah.
but it's a term of endearment to
I
him.
see.
In fact, Piggy was Jeffrey Epstein's nickname for Donald. I mean, have you seen the guy?
I
POTUS? More like Blotus, am I right? Am I
Oh,
right?
come on. How about it? Yeah,
Anyway.
jumping on board.
Dude, I'm kind of revved up. It's my birthday tomorrow, and there's going to be all kinds of cool things going on. I'm in Los Angeles at the moment, so I'm excited. My pals in the Flamin' Groovies and Tom Kenny and the High Seas are doing a double bill at the Whiskey Saturday night.
Oh, that's super cool.
There are 3 art openings, KP Projects, Corey Helford Gallery, and Super Chief, where my pal Parker Day has a piece. And I'm going to try to end the evening at the Constellation Club at the Formosa. It is a big
You are
birthday blowout.
unbelievable. Wow. How old do you feel? I don't want to know how old you are. How old do you feel,
I feel
Michael?
like about 35 because I'm in that sweet spot, continuing to remain in that sweet spot where, you can hang with the kids and then groove with the elders. And
Yeah, you are, but you're the culture blaster. You're able to do that. Yeah.
It feels good. And what also feels good?
No.
Bringing the word on popular culture to the audience at the Mark Thompson Show and
Yeah.
beyond. And do you think we should get revved up here?
We're in better shape, but I don't think we're in wildly better shape.
Let's
Okay,
start.
fine. So I'm not saying that the big screen musical Wicked for Good is critic proof. Yeah, wait a minute. That's exactly what I'm saying. Audiences seem to love the first half of this, which was called Wicked Part 1. And it adapted the front end of the hit Broadway show Wicked, which was based on a novel that was a revisionist look at L. Frank Baum's fantasy classic, The Wizard of Oz. These fans of Wicked Part 1, I call them wikis. They're probably going to lap up Part 2, and they've been waiting long enough. I mean, it's been an entire year since Wicked Part 1 was released. Even though that introduction to the early years of Glinda the Good Witch and Elphaba the Wicked Witch and their youthful friendship featured 2 good songs written by Stephen Schwartz for the original show, Popular and Defying Gravity, with his lesser tunes left over for part 2, people are just going to want to see how things go. You know, they're hooked. They're in. They've been there.
Sure.
They've been waiting 12 long months. Okay, and to paraphrase the late Paul Harvey, now they'll know the rest of the story. In Wicked for Good, Glinda and Elphaba are played and sung again by the talented Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo. And, you know, they're committed to the material, and wow, can they sing. Ariana is the blonde, pink-adorned, spunky Glinda. She's magic challenged, but propped up as the smiling embodiment of goodness in Oz. And Elphaba is, of course, played by Cynthia. Elphaba is the green-skinned, black-clad, pointy hat-wearing, put-upon witch, painted by the powers that be as evil personified when she just wants to defend the downtrodden. It's a sad situation. I mean, she's a kind of an animal rights activist. All the animals are being mistreated.
Oh,
I know who you're going to be rooting for if you see this movie, Mark.
All right.
Anyway, manipulated by the power-hungry wizard, played by Jeff Goldblum, and the scheming, magically skilled Madame Morrible, played by the great Michelle Yeoh, Glinda and Elphaba are on an inevitable collision course, and old comrades are caught up in the conflict, especially the handsome Prince Fiyero, who is engaged to Glinda but secretly yearns for Elphaba. You know, speaking of social notes, the prince is played by Jonathan Bailey, who just happens to be People Magazine's 2025 sexiest man alive. But I digress into TMZ territory. I shouldn't have even gone there, buddy. Anyway, you know that sooner or later a farmhouse from Kansas with a pigtailed girl inside is going to tumble into Oz and throw the kingdom's balance of power into even greater turmoil. A Tin Woodsman, a Scarecrow, and a lion will appear, but how and why? These questions and a few others about Elphaba's sister, the Munchkins, the provenance of flying monkeys, they'll all be answered to some extent and to a modicum of satisfaction. Look, Wicked for Good is gorgeous to look at. Like the first part, it's an astonishing mix of kind of jaw-dropping Art Deco design with the Emerald City and the sprawling Oz countryside echoing the candy burst colors and the architecture of the beloved 1939 MGM film, The Wizard of Oz. John M. Chu, who was responsible for the better movie, Crazy Rich Asians, I love that, and the better film musical, In the Heights, directed for good as he did part 1. It's from a screenplay written by Winnie Holzman, who wrote the book of the stage version, co-written also by Dana Fox. I mean, Holzman, creator of My So-Called Life on TV, she knew what she was doing with the material. So she's culpable. It kind of leans on well-meaning thematic aspects of the story, like embracing inclusiveness, loyalty, again, animal rights, and being true to your better nature. And it does its best to stick the landing, but at a 2-movie total of almost 5 hours, it feels padded out. I just want to wrap by saying Wicked 1 and 2 combined serves as a prime example, for better or worse, of our cannibalistic culture. It's chock-a-block with homages, tributes, remakes, and reinventions, and it kind of leaves me hungry for something new, you know?
Yeah, this is interesting that you draw it in that way at the end, that you draw it together to sort of suggest that's what we've become, sort of a franchise-oriented, how can we squeeze this bigger, better, merchandisable kind of thing.
Yeah,
and so
yeah.
even as you kind of love on it, you point to the fact that, you know, there's just not enough here really for 2 movies.
Yeah, it's really pretty glorious to look at. I just felt dissatisfied. Hey, speaking of hungry, Ariana Grande, you so skinny. You look like anorexia grande. I mean, how does such a big voice come out of such a tiny body? I mean,
she's so talented.
Eat a sandwich, though, Ariana. Come
How
on.
dare you? I don't criticize the way somebody's physical appearance
I
is,
worry about her, but
I see. Okay.
She looks like she's going to be blown away by a tornado. It's a very Oz thing.
Is there another tornado, or there's the original tornado in this one, right?
Well, there's a reason for the tornado that's explained in the movie, but it's all in theaters. If it's your jam, fine. I went with my buddy Jill, and she loves this stuff. And of course, I was carried along with her.
Mm-hmm.
But ultimately, the more I reflected on it, the more I thought, like, this just too much.
What else do you have for us, Culture
I
Blaster?
have a movie I can be unabashedly excited about, Mark. This is one of my favorite films of the year. I don't always say this, so be advised. Rental Family truly impressed me. It is a lovely mix of human comedy and poignant drama, and it's anchored by a fine-tuned, sweet-natured performance by Brendan Fraser. He plays Philip, a struggling, somewhat depressed American actor who has decided to make a life for himself in Tokyo. So living on his own in the sprawling Japanese city, he's scrambling for any gig possible. You know, we've seen a lot of commercials with American actors and whatever. There's use for an American actor in the Japanese media. So the most high-profile job he's managed to get is as a cavity-fighting superhero in a toothpaste ad. That's his biggest gig. And like some people will yell out the catchphrase to the guy when they see him on the street.
Oh, that's funny.
But he agrees to sign on with a rental family talent agency that provides clients with actors who play stand-ins for real people in their lives or in the lives of their loved ones. So this company provides hired attendees at a funeral. In one case, he plays a fake journalist to lift the spirits of an elderly man. And he's even tabbed to play a substitute father. And you'd have to see the movie to get the nuance there. But Philip starts becoming attached to the people he's performing for. And this creates issues for himself and for the agency he's working for. And it forces him to reevaluate his place in the world and the choices he makes. The result is one of the most uplifting and emotionally gratifying movies I've seen in a while. I loved Rental Family, which was co-written and directed by the single monikered Hikari. Man, I hope it finds a wide audience. It is in theaters starting today.
Is this a real thing in Japan? It's being asked in the chat.
You know, I assume so. It sounds like the kind of thing that Japanese culture would embrace, you know?
Yeah,
Google it.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you for that. By the way, the Japanese supporting cast, absolutely wonderful. In particular, Takehiro Hira as the boss of this rental family agency who begins to have some issues with Fraser's Philip character.
Let me just handle this troll.
Okay.
I called out the body shaming, okay, Devin? So how dare you, Devin? You owe me an apology.
I am worried about Ariana.
I mean,
Would you like to apologize for what you've done?
Devin, you should apologize to me, and until you apologize, I am pulling this car over. You heard me.
Wow.
I am really... How dare they?
What a tempest I've initiated. I apologize, too, just on general principles.
I stand corrected.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, move on, please.
Sisu, Road to Revenge, is a sequel even more violent and insane than its berserk predecessor, Sisu, the unexpected hit action thriller from Finland. In that movie, the first of the two films, an ex-commando turned prospector comes into conflict with retreating Nazis during the last days of World War II.
Oh, right. You talked about this first film on the show.
I totally love this film. It's nuts. Anyway, the Nazis take this guy's gold, and he is determined to get it back and punish those who would take what's his, and boy, does he. So Road to Revenge was written and directed by the Sisu filmmaker Jalmari Helander, and it features returning star Jorma Tomila as the angriest old guy you never wanted to piss off. And thus, we're in good hands. In the sequel, our grizzled, seemingly indestructible hero is on a mission to relocate his home, which was on Finnish land, annexed by the Soviet Union at the end of World War II. So now they're the bad guys. And shades of Ukraine, right? The annexing of a part of Finland.
Sure.
So our hero sneaks across the border to disassemble the house where his wife and children were murdered by Soviet soldiers. And then he heads back to Finland after loading the wood on a truck. And apparently he took out a veritable regiment of Soviet soldiers, I guess off screen, while they were in the process of acquiring the Finnish land. So a sadistic Soviet officer played by Avatar villain Stephen Land, is tasked with capturing and torturing the man before he can get back to his new homestead, which is all pretty Putin-esque. You know, I wouldn't have been surprised if they tried to throw him out of a fourth-story window. Anyway, the Reds don't reckon with this guy, so adept at slaughtering any bad guys in his path. He's kind of like the Energizer Bunny of death. He just keeps killing and killing and killing. And it gets actually pretty comical in a Mad Max way. If you suspend your disbelief, and I did, Sisu Road to Revenge is an absolute hoot. 90 minutes of cartoon-level violence porn. I rolled with every disposable second of it, and don't judge me. I'll admit it was cathartic to see the Soviets get what was coming to them. Sisu Road to Revenge is in theaters.
Wow. All right, a lot going on there. Now, I mean, to understand, they're prospectors and commandos that turn Nazi, or they're turned on the Nazis?
No, he is a former commando and a prospector, and the Nazis see he has all this gold as they're retreating out of Finland and over the border at the end of World War II, and they decide to grab the gold. You know, it's kind of
I get it.
You know,
I get it.
Pillaging. They're pillaging.
But then he turns on the Nazis.
Yeah, he does. That's in the first film. In the second film, there's already a new border between Finland and the Soviet Union.
I see, sure.
And the Soviets have been wreaking havoc. So we see where they're going over the next 20, 30, 40 years.
That's why you say the Soviets get their comeuppance. Okay, go ahead with your next one. Oh, great culture blaster.
I want to soften things up again. Like Rental Family, I have two movies to wrap things up on the movie front that are lovely and humane. One of the most achingly beautiful and the tenderest films I've seen in quite a while. Train Dreams is the perfect antidote for noisy blockbuster overload. It's an intimate, finely wrought portrait of one unpretentious person's life and times. Joel Edgerton, he's like letter perfect, and he'll break your heart as Robert Grenier, a simple, decent man in the rustic Pacific Northwest of the early 20th century, working as a lumberjack while his wife and baby daughter wait in the cozy family cabin for his return at the end of every job he takes. And Edgerton has the lion's share of screen time, and he delivers a richly felt, still waters run deep performance that cements his status in the upper echelon of the acting profession. Felicity Jones plays his steadfast wife Gladys with quiet strength. William H. Macy, man, he's all over the place these days. He is comfortable as a well-worn pair of boots playing a wise elder lumberjack. Kerry Condon makes an appearance as an able philosophical ex-nurse turned forest ranger. This character of Robert loves Gladys and their little kid, Katie, and he's trying to do the very best he can for them, regardless of the struggle, the danger, and the separation he has to endure when he's miles away in some lush forest, you know, chopping down tree after tree. But loss and tragedy will upend his plans for the future, and he has to somehow cope with the changes. Co-written and directed by Clint Bradley, Train Dreams has a certain reserve and an austere poetry to it. It's lovely to look at.
Wow.
And despite its meditative quality, it really lands hard as it ends. Highly recommended. It's in select theaters. Oh, wait, it's also now streaming on Netflix as of this week. So you can just watch this thing at home.
All right. I love it. Michael, you've got that. Those are two definite winners that you've served.
Yeah,
up.
Rental Family and Train Dreams.
Yes.
One more winner, and we'll
please.
wrap up.
Well,
it's called Rebuilding, and it is a little movie about big challenges as a wildfire devastates homes and acreage in modern-day Colorado, and a divorced rancher named Dusty, who has seen the ancestral family house and lands go up in smoke, needs to find a way forward while holding on to the bond he has with his precocious young daughter, Callie Rose, and kind of staying civil with his ex, Ruby, who shares custody of the girl. Dusty is played by UK actor Josh O'Connor, seamlessly playing American, and he brings a stoicism and a nobility to the part, while his daughter is played by the adorable Lily Latour in natural and unfussy fashion, and his ex is played adeptly by Megan Fahey, who this is a very different kind of turn for her. She's wonderful, and his mother-in-law is played by Amy Madigan, whose career has received a much-deserved bounce from her now iconic over-the-top turn in the elevated horror movie Weapons. Boy, Amy Madigan, you are versatile. And like Train Dreams, this is a movie about surviving strife with grace, but it's also about finding strength in community. It's written and directed by Max Walker Silverman. Rebuilding is both refreshing and inspiring. It is in select theaters.
Wow, Michael seemed to like that too.
I thought it was damn good, buddy.
Wow, you've really done it, Culture Blaster. I don't believe I normally it's kind of 50-50. In this case, you have really recommended a few winners.
Yeah.
We'll start with Rebuilding, the one that you just mentioned, written and directed by Max Walker Silverman, Josh O'Connor, Lily Latour, is that how she says her name?
Latour, I think.
And Megan Fahey, and Amy Madigan. He's mad about Amy Madigan.
Well, if you saw her in Weapons, which you should, it's really, I know you don't like horror, but boy, oh boy, what an iconic performance that is.
I have a soft heart, and I don't like horror. You're absolutely right about that.
Yeah, I figured.
But Rebuilding, he recommends it's in theaters. Train Dreams is the Joel Edgerton project. He says that it is done with grace, it is done with a deft, it is done with a touching quality that stays with you. You really like Train Dreams, didn't you, Culture Blaster?
I did. 3 of the movies today I can unabashedly recommend to any audiences. As the Sisu film is a little... Anyway.
Train Dreams is in theaters.
And on Netflix.
Sisu Road to Revenge, about the ex-commando and prospector who now takes on the Soviets.
It appeals to my dark side.
It's wall-to-wall cartoon violence.
Carnage!
If that's for you, you can find it in theaters. Rental Family is the one he was also over the moon for. The Brendan Fraser project is a mix of human comedy and family drama, says the Culture Blaster.
And poignant moments.
I'm excited to see it. It's the rental family that Brendan Fraser is part of as an American in Japan. And Michael was very touched by it and said, you will be too.
I left the screening with a bunch of my hard-boiled critic friends, and we were all profoundly moved by this film.
Wow. Rental Family is in theaters. And then we started with Wicked for Good. It's the sequel to the original Wicked, which was this 3-hour pastiche of color and plot based on the novel, which was based on the riffing off the original story from L. Frank Baum.
Yep.
The first one at 3 hours was enough to keep me awake.
Yeah, 2 hours and 45 minutes. And
this one is 2 hours, right?
2 hours and 15. I'm telling you, the total is about 5 hours of,
Michael
we're
says
off to see the wizard.
There's not enough here for 2 movies, but it is a gorgeous film. He said it's elegantly done, but it's just there at some point you're just running out of road.
Yeah, and Erivo and Grande are so talented. Cynthia Erivo is one of the most purely talented performers in any aspect of the arts these days. She I can't say enough good about her. I just, I'm looking forward to whatever she does next.
Pastiche is a ding word. I agree.
What? One quick note for streaming lovers and for music lovers: the Beatles anthology, which came out in 1995, a Fab 4 approved documentary series, is back and basically polished and rejuvenated by Peter Jackson and the same crew that did the wonderful Get Back documentary series.
Oh, sure.
And they've added a new heretofore on the scene episode about the making of the original series in the 90s and the making of the last Beatle tracks to be released, which were song demos by the late John Lennon that Paul, George, and Ringo finished. If you're a Beatles fan, it is hog heaven.
That well never runs dry, that Beatles well.
No, it doesn't. It's on Disney Plus. I just wanted to throw in a little TV stuff for you guys.
Yeah, I love it. He is out there with the written word, thevoicesf.org, if you want to read the writings and musings of Michael Snyder. He doesn't just comment on music and film. He is out there with reflections. Thevoicesf.org. He comes and goes on a rainbow. Bye-bye, Michael.
Hey, go Niners. Monday night versus Carolina.
Oh, that's right. They are favored by almost a touchdown.
The left is trying to take away your children and turn them into non-binaries.
I didn't know. Are you aware of that, Michael? Left, it's watch those left.
News to me, buddy.
Watch the lefties on the way out. All right, okay.
The Mark Thompson Show.
I can't believe it. Happy birthday, Michael Snyder, says Phineas.
Happy birthday.
Hey, thank you. Thank you.
Very, very cool, Michael.
We're trying not to count. But
people really like you.
I feel like Sally Field at the Oscars.
Yeah, they really do like you, it seems. Yeah, very, very nice. The Beatles never get old, says Randy. Yep. Purdy is back, says Phineas. Yep. Very, very true. Well, I could continue this all day, but let's face it, I already have. I'm going to just check in on the Super Chat. The Last Angry Manny, couple of good hits today. Thank you, Last Angry Manny, for being part of our
big shout out
Super Chat family. Michael Shore can't make the Holiday Hoedown. Ask Mo to attend. I will totally ask Mo, of course. Mm-hmm. And CC Ryder says the GOP and their vast right-wing media ecosystem has normalized MAGA corruption. Media in all formats must never stop talking about it. Fascism wins when good people give up the fight and the public becomes numb. That's so true. And, I mean, it really is true, CC Ryder. I think you're right on. And I think that, that normalization you speak of, I think is part of it. I also think the mainstream media has normalized it on some level. I think just don't we're not used to being hit in the face with this level of corruption. But that's why I feel you need to talk about it. But I do think you need to be specific about it. You can't just say, oh my God, they're so corrupt. You have to talk about the money grabs. You have to talk about the pay to play. There's a lot going on below the surface, but there's a lot going on that you can comment on. So I think it all has to be commented on. And, it does have to be kept out there. So I am grateful for all who joined us today. Thanks again to Michael Shure and to Mo Kelly. Thanks again to Kim and Albert. Thanks again to everybody in our community of supporters. Monday, big show. Kim, tell everybody.
Sarah Kenzier on her new Monday slot will be here. Gary Dietrich will be here. Lots of politics, lots of good stuff on the Mark Thompson Show for Monday.
Monday should be a very good day. So we want you all here. Don't forget, if you haven't yet, grab your spot at the Holiday Hoedown. It is available to you with a $50 donation to the show. All the PayPal links to grab that $50 donation are under all our videos. Note HH.
I'm Shadow Stevens for the Mark Thompson Show. Bye-bye.
Then send us an email to confirm it, mtsmeetup@gmail.com.
Out of time. Bye-bye.
We are out of time. Until Monday, have a good weekend. Bye-bye.